Cheers. Enjoy the beers. Yes. Good evening. After a few technical difficulties there, I thought I'd know how to do this by now. But yes, I'm Disco coming here with another live show from in front of the cans and bottles here in a bar. I'm still freely calling. And the Disco Arm's got another 3 beers to bash the stash. Too many beers sitting in the stash, so I picked 3 that vaguely went together. Welcome all if you're joining. Thank you very much indeed if you are. Tonight's theme, because as you know I like to put these theme out, is a free beer. Now I apologize if that's a slightly clickbaity title and thumbnail. I'm not giving away free beer. I probably should do at some point. Maybe that's like the 500 sub giveaway or 1,000 sub giveaway or something, but we're way off that yet. So yeah, I haven't worked out how to do giveaways. I'll leave that over to Rob at Mr. B's Home Brews. I was just mentioning the man who's popped up in the comments there. What beautiful timing. Thank you very much indeed. Cheers, Rob. Yeah, no free beer here, unfortunately, yet. I'll have to work out how to do that. David Wilson, good evening to you as always. Thanks for dropping in. I hope you both got beers on the go. Let me know what you're drinking tonight. Yeah, I've got some beers. Being in the beer industry, being around the periphery of the beer industry, chatting to people about beer every now and again. I don't get a lot, but I have on occasion been given some free beer. The odd can or two here and there. And it's nearly 6 years of doing this YouTube business. Let me set the camera up right. There you go. Let's go down there so I can see myself. There you go. Yeah, so occasionally you get given a can or two here and there. Some people get sent beers. I'm nowhere near that yet. But yeah, I've got 3 beers I've been given along the way in the past year. I believe they're all in date as well. They were a couple of them I'd meant to like get round to doing videos for. I wasn't given them with any kind of like, oh, please review the beer or anything like that. They were just, 2 of them were very kindly given over freely, and I said I would get onto them. And the third one, it's got a different story attached. So let's get onto the first one. I guess want to do too much waffling on. So yeah. Beer number 1, please. So beer number 1 is this interesting little number. That's not good on the camera, on the shiny. Yeah, so not even sure. Well, not even sure it's meant to be in the country. It's not even an actual. Well, it is an actual beer, but it's not like a commercially available beer. As such, it's a kind of, well, it does say on the thing, I don't know if you see it, it does say sample. So kind of almost smuggled into the country from Canada, from Victoria Brewing. Let's get in a glass and then we'll have an hour about whys and the stories with that. So, yeah. Lovely shiny can with the barest of stickers because it's wasn't intended for commercial sale. In fact, it does even say on there not for resale. It does say sample. It is say from a Victoria Brewing Company, 5.3%. I think I put the wrong. No, I did get it right. 5.3% West Coast Pilsner. Now, I know what Pilsner is. I'm not entirely sure what a West Coast is. Or, in fact, my geography of Canada is not great. I'm assuming Victoria is somewhere on the west coast of Canada, which is out Vancouver way. Might have a little look on the map or something in a minute. Joining me on a beer on a Thursday Tipple. Wilson on a dipper called Space in the Woods from Pentrick. Pentrick is one of those on the list for a long time that I've been meaning to get around to and never quite made it. Yeah, the ticker. I will do that in a second. Mr. B, the forklift disco is on offer at Sainsbury's at the moment. It's kind of always on offer, really. Actually, I haven't seen it in Sainsbury's for a while, so it's good that it's back. It is probably the OG disco beer that kicked off all the disco beers. I have to be honest, I've written on this with Drygate, it's not my favourite of the disco beers. Although it's good enough, I find it a touch on the hoppy side. I prefer the mango to shine through. But we know the problems we had about mango on Monday's stream, didn't we? Oh, blimey. Oh, blimey, did I nearly put the cat among the pigeons with that. I was just being honest. I wasn't a keen. I was just about to sit up there, the sun's shining indoors. I did put it on Instagram, try and have a chat with Turning Point about it. They reckoned it was the same recipe as 4 years ago, but I just didn't think so. Didn't taste the donuts. Didn't taste enough mango, to be fair. So it's quite a difficult one to probably not put it in the right glass either, but I wanted a kind of tall, thinnish glass rather than a pint glass. It's a 440 can, I think. Was it a North American size one? Yeah, I'm being too picky again, aren't I? You know how it works. There we go. Yeah, that's right. Got to put the phone back on charge just to be sure, just in case. So there, that's the photo. I don't know if I'm doing the photos tomorrow. I've got another plan, funny enough, for some more disco beers tomorrow, which I normally do on Instagram and then film for YouTube later, but I haven't got around to doing the previous disco day beers from early on in the year yet. So, you know, I'm getting behind on everything, to be fair. 440ml can, 160. Yeah, I had that recently, didn't I, on the bonus disco episode with the Turning Point. 160. I'd buy that. That's not too bad. That's quite a good offer, to be fair. They're normally like 240 or something. Yeah, it's not one I'd rush out, although it's a disco beer. It's not one I'd rush out for. Although I do like Drygate, to be fair. So let's get into this one. Yeah, so this one was actually delivered up the brewery somewhere around February or March time. Victoria Brewing. Hang on, I've lost you. There we go. Right, let's check. I was going to tell you the story about it, but I kind of don't want to leave the beer there too long. Really pale in colour, as you can see. Looks a bit darker on the screen on the camera. Oodles. It's been in the fridge for a while. Oodles of carbonation racing up the glass. Love a bit of carbonation racing. Nice bubbly head going on there. Let's have a look. It smells of pure brewery. Yeah, it smells like a Pilsner. It's got that malty kind of note in there. It's got that slight hop aroma. Nothing particular, but yeah, it's all there for a Pilsner. I'm interested to see what this West Coast business is. I'm thinking it's something like a West Coast IPA, but in a lager style. So, but it looks a proper decent enough Pilsner going on. Let's get it down the hatch. Cheers to all. Thanks for popping in through the Disco Arms. Oh yeah. Well, there you go. Good bit of Canadian brewing, I guess. That's a good, clean, crisp Pilsner. It's all there. It's got good carbonation, so it's quite bubbly. But that only adds to it a little bit of savoury salininess on the back end there, just coating a bit of salt dancing off the lips. Well put together beer, well travelled. So he gave it to me in February, March when he came over, and it has been sitting in my stash, both up the brewery and in my fridge. I've done only 4 or 5 months. Yeah, it's not as big a glass as I thought when I selected. I did select it in a bit of a rush, to be fair. Is it an American can size can? It doesn't say because of the. I don't know, you know. Yeah, I think it's a 440. Yeah, looks like a 440. Yeah, slightly smaller glass. I wanted like that tall kind of thin glass. I couldn't find the other one. Yes, an everlasting can. Actually, an everlasting can of this, I wouldn't necessarily would be good. Wouldn't necessarily be too unhappy about. It's a really nice. It's a really nice Pilsner. Don't really. I say I was expecting some kind of hoppiness, piffiness, some kind of pininess, some kind of orange note on that West Coast thing. I think I'm confusing it with a West Coast IPA. So it's been a fish, so it's proper cold. It's served really nicely. There's plenty of clean lines. There's nothing here or there. It's well balanced. There's that kind of there's a little bit there, that kind of slight lemon, citrus note. Little bit of maltiness, very light maltiness, but it's definitely there. As I say, that kind of slightly odd, but not in a bad way. That kind of slight salinity, slight saltiness, and a bit of savouriness. All around pretty decent Pilsner, to be fair. Very, very drinkable. I just cracked open my 65p Heller's Lager from two tribes. I mean, two tribes down here in London. I was talking about that on Monday because I have my two tribes t-shirt on. Well, 65p can't be that bad. I mean, I'm going with free beer, and this is my question, right? Is cheaper or discount beers, or indeed is free beer the best kind of beer? And every time I get that kind of, doesn't happen a lot, but what's the best beer? And you see like people on YouTube, beer reviewers or whatever, get asked that, what's your favorite beer? What's the best beer? And because I don't answer questions properly, because I'm an idiot, fully qualified idiot, I always say the best beer is free beer, because you haven't paid for it, and I think it makes it taste better. There are some free beers I wouldn't accept, as well, you know, but that's not true. That's not true. I've got a beer mongrel beer in the stash that I was given, somewhat against my own thing, but it's a big barley wine, and I do prefer their bigger beers, and an imperial stout. There's 2 bottles. So yeah, I could have done that one today, because all these beers are beers I've not paid for. It's not like sponsored content in any way. They were just freely handed over with no expectation, and I did want to do some kind of content with them because I thought they were interesting. This one, as I say, had a really interesting story to it. Simo, good evening. Thanks for dropping in, sir. Have you got a beer on? Do let us know. We're having a beer on a Thursday Tipple. Yeah, so this one came from Canada. I was going to line up, as always, on Instagram. Yeah, so the guy from Victoria Brewing, let's have a quick look. Yeah, so there we go. Victoria Brewing Company. It's a new brewery set up over in Canada, based on like an old traditional Victorian brewing company set up a long time ago and gone out of business. So he's taken over the kind of reins of it. Prohibition in Canada. That's the brewer's tale took a bit of turn. Due to the First World War and Prohibition, I thought it was just America. I didn't realise it was Canada as well. But Canada and US merging most remaining small-scale breweries into Carlin, O'Keefe, Labatt and Molson. The big boys, look what they've got now. Unfortunately, the majestic Victoria Brewing Company building met its fate when Molson purchased the property, demolishing the architectural gem and letting Victoria's rich brewing heritage fade away like foam on an abandoned pint. I mean, to be fair, that does look like a proper old school lovely architecture brewery building. I think they're aiming to rebuild it, but so they've taken over, I think, all like the original intellectual property, etc. Right, yeah, there's the man himself, Keel. So yeah, he popped in to randomly somewhat. He popped into Perivale on a bit of a world tour. He was going around lots of different breweries. I know he went over to the Bermondsey Beer Mile, went to Colonel and a couple of others. Did a lot of posting on the Instagram. Beers, especially German styles, are a testament to these values. Simple yet profound. Create a symphony of tradition, balance, freshness, and science in every brew. Really top bloke. Come for a look around. Perivale. I don't actually know why. I guess he'd just seen something to do with Perivale somewhere. Who knows how this marketing gets out. And popped in for a chat. Bought a few beers. We had a good lineup. I can't remember if we had our Pilsner on. The only titled Very Crisp. And then at the end of it, yeah, he just popped a couple of beers on the bar and said, "Here you go, see what you think of this." He didn't ask for reviews or anything. He just said, "We're just dropping samples around." That's the one he actually dropped off. The one I did actually properly review over on Instagram. It wasn't his one. It was Hoinbrewing's Dark Matter. It was kind of a mystery beer because it was a dark beer and it wasn't a bitter, it wasn't a porter, it was somewhere in between. Yeah, so I did a video for that one over on YouTube a while back. I'll link that up the top there later once I do the edits. But yeah, it will probably be good beers. Well, yeah, I don't like to I do like to go into it objectively and not just assume, oh, it's a good beer because it's a free beer. But I do tend to find most beers you get given are usually pretty good. Free beer is definitely the best beer. Well, we shall see how that goes. I mean, the first one up is a really good start. That's a really nice. There's some complexity to it as well as that nice, simple, crisp, clear Pilsner body on it. Salinity is growing, which is odd, but not bad. Really nice. Yeah, kind of complete one off. I don't know if he's actually putting that into production. Oh, let's have a look. Because he was talking about setting up when I was talking to him in February. So let's see if he's underway. I guess. See what beers he's got on the rack. Again, this is a complete one off. I'm not probably going to actually get any of these beers. Oh, there's nothing. He's got no beers on sale as such, so I don't know if he's still into it. I've looked at his website before, but I forgot about it. Yeah, he did say, did somebody say free beer? Maybe sign up below to receive news and updates. So we fine tune our recipes. We shouldn't be drinking all this ourselves. So he is actually up for giving out free beer, which is cool. Really nice. But yeah, he's got nothing on the rack at the moment, but lots of beers in development. So yeah, that will see any of it, but that's not the aim. I wanted to do this one, and obviously I followed and tagged him in. So nice little bit of lacing going down the glass. It's very definitely its own style. It's not quite a German or Czech Pilsner. There is some overlap. I think, if I remember rightly, said it was all like Victoria grown. Yeah, so okay, I'm sure he said it was all like Canadian malt grown in Victoria. But it seems to suggest here, it says on here, hops are Tettnang. It says whole British Columbia grown. No, I didn't know they grew hops in Canada as well. I don't see why not. It's a good fertile region. So Tettnang and Magnum. Batch number 27. Yeah, West Coast Pilsner. Yeah, so it's got definitely in the right area in terms of hops. It's no SARS. That's my favourite. Every time, people say, what's your favourite hop? I always say SARS because it confuses people because they don't think of like lager hops. So I say SARS, and it kind of is in a way because it hasn't got that kind of citrus kind of bitterness. It's kind of a nice balanced hop in a decent Czech Pilsner. Like I say, especially in the one up at the brewery, they're very crisp. This one is lighter. It's got that perfect balance, perfect lightness. It is. I think I would have been happy to pay for that beer if I'd bought a pint of that, or even indeed in the cans. Maybe I've lagered it for longer than is intended. It's a sample, so there's no best before on it, I don't think. No. But with lager, you can get away with that. You can leave it for a little bit longer, but there doesn't seem to be any kind of... It all seems to be still perfectly fresh, crisp, and balanced, apart from that slight savoury note. That's growing, but it's not bad. It's still balanced across the flavours. Yeah, anybody know anything about Canadian beer industry? Because I don't, apart from the two beers that I've had. You don't really see Canadian beers in the UK much, do you? Even in the like the American kind of beer suppliers, of which there aren't that many. Yeah, so I don't know too much. I haven't learned a lot. But if that's, I mean, I say the Brewing one that I reviewed there, the Dark Matter, that was a really good beer, really nice dark ale. So I've kind of got the two ends of the spectrum. I don't know whether that's like, you can't really say like, in general, I try not to generalize, so I can't generalize the whole of the Canadian beer industry in two beers, but I've had two very good beers, two very enjoyable beers. As you can tell, because that one hasn't lasted very long at all. Cheers. Nice. So if you see Victoria Brewing Company around at all in the UK, do let me know. No, not a clue. But that's kind of what I said. I think in that video, actually, I don't know a lot about Canadian apart from countless bottles of Labatt's Ice in nightclubs in the late 90s. I don't think Labatt's does count, really, innit? Big beer. Try not to mention him if I can help it, but there we go. Well, there we go. I thought that was quite an interesting little intro. A good beer to start off with. Let's see if this free beer thing continues. With beer number 2, please. So, beer number 2 into the UK with the last two. No, you see that can? See, they're on the level. It's not a 440. It's something like a 475 or something like that. Is that what they have in Canada? That's weird. No, it's bigger. Like an American size, isn't it? North American size. So it must be a 475, I think. Well, good evening, sir. Good evening, your sectionist yourself, Thomas. Thanks for popping in. Good to see you. Hope you're doing okay. As always, good to see you. Yeah, so let's get that into a glass, then I'll do the old 30-40. So yeah, this is Stannary Brewing from down in Devon. Somewhere near Plymouth, Tiverton, I think. I just assume it to be roughly, everything down there to be roughly Plymouth, being Plymouth connections. I should be better on the geography there, to be fair. So this is a session pale ale, they describe it as. And I'll tell you what, they're not wrong. It is definitely pale, pretty much as pale as that Pilsner. Pretty much the same colour, to be fair. Certainly not quite as dark maybe on the camera, but from back here there's that kind of pale yellow lemony straw kind of colour, giving it a little bit of beans on the head there. So yeah, it's called All That Jazz. Canadians didn't bother with a beer name because it was just a tester. So this one's called All That Jazz. It's part of their core range beer. It says here session pale ale 4.2%. So I've given this a generously fizzy pour. Again, I know very little about Stannary, but it is one as I keep trying to look at beers from Plymouth. Being a Plymouth fan, I wanted to do some kind of content around the new football season. I did last year with beers with green in it. Didn't get around to that this year. It's just been too busy and I haven't really organised it very well. So this is the closest I can get to really getting any beers out of Plymouth. A couple of breweries down there, but don't really have web shops very, very good. Don't really have very good web shops, or don't have anything on, or they just sell out. Stannary have. We'll look at that in a minute. Anybody heard of Stannary? Had anything from Stannary? So do let me know. Nice, yeah, nice looking pale. Slight haze on it. Not particularly thick and luscious necessarily, but there is a slight haze. Not a bad nose. A little bit of maltiness going on there. Light malt going on. Touch of lemon maybe in the aroma. Let's do the photograph first, shall we? As always, seeing as I've been reminded, thank you, David, as always. Just trying to get around the light there. I think I've got that in shot. Just about in focus. That'll do. That'll do. I've still got that salinity knocking around my lips from that Pilsner. Alright, there we go. Let's settle that a bit. As far as I know, this one's in date. I only picked it up recently. Oh, that's a nice, yeah. It's a nice hazy pale ale aroma going on there. A little bit of citrus going towards lemon. A touch of banana on the aroma there, oddly. Maybe some yeast business going on. I'm not sure. Let's have a look at that in a minute. Anyway, cheers. Up you go. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's nice. As session pale ales goes, hazy pales go, there's a bit of citrus note, not that big biting, bittery, piney citrus that, as you know, I'm not a big fan of. I tell you what, it's very similar to Up the Brewery, the very pale 4.4% pale ale. This is 4.2, but it's like a lighter version of very pale. There's much less, the hop notes are dialed down a bit. There's not much in the way of grapefruit, but it just kind of nudges towards it. Touch of sort of, yeah, there is a touch of lemon kind of citrus note going on. Yeah. Yeah, that's all right. Again, it's been in the fridge all day, so it's nice and cold. I could be sitting on the seafront somewhere in Devon, watching the waves roll in. Nice, gentle, well balanced pint there. I think. Can you do Devon-based beers? There are quite a few in Devon, and also Cornwall. I could do a Cornwall series as well. The only problem is, unlike, say, the rest of the country, there is one or two but there doesn't seem to be that many, say, like Trembling Madness, that will focus on that area. There's no like, I want to find a bottle shop down there that does kind of a good selection of Devon, of local ales, and that has a web shop that can send them out. Also, I'm trying not to buy more beers, but yes, I could very easily do a Devon selection. Should I eventually get back down to Devon at some point? It's been a while. I used to go there quite a lot every year. Talking of Trembling Madness, some madness trembles in. Buddy Biggs, thank you very much. Yeah, Trembling Madness is a bottle shop over in York. I get quite a lot of beers from, and yet we know why it's called Trembling Madness. Mostly the madness of choosing which beers to buy, because there's a big selection on there. Yeah, it does. It looks good. Yeah, kind of getting into me pale ales and me hazy pales. I'm drinking a lot more of them these days. Even ones that aren't with disco in the name. Yeah, there's quite a lot down in Devon. Stannary, I want to have another look at. I've had a look at their website a while back, and it's another one there where I was trying to sort of decide which ones not to get, because there were so many. Let's have a look, see what they got at the moment. There we go. Right, Stannary. Yeah, I line this one up. Stannary Brewing Co. is an independent brewery run by lifelong friends. Mark Stevens, Chris John, and Gary White. Like all the best ideas, Stannary Brewing Company started out as a crazy conversation in a pub. You know what I mean? Lots of conversations started out in a pub over a few beers. All the good ones went through. In early 2016, we jumped into the commercial brewing world and purchased an Asian microbrewery and sold our first pint in August 2016. And that was Stannary. The rest is history. Go big or go home. Well, they haven't gone big here. They've gone very nice, very balanced. Let's have a look, see what beers they got on the roster, as they say in America. Tinners, craft lager. Quite a bit of merch on. Yeah, quite good on the can art. I'm still not totally sold on the old verticalness, because it makes it harder to photograph and read. You end up having to do that all the time, but it does mean all the information gets in the column. So that's a 4% pale ale. So it's not this one. Tinner's craft lager. Is that like a bounce off of Skinner's? Oh, here we go. All That Jazz Session Pale Ale, 4.2%. They've got a different award on there. Bronze in the Session Pale Ale category of C, but this one is Taste of the West. Taste of the West finalist. Didn't win, but why not put a medallion on the can anyway to say that you was kind of in with a chance. And to be fair, I can see why. It's a good beer. I'm quite pleased with it. It's very drinkable. Definitely a session beer. Got that balanced kind of hop note. Not big on the grapefruit. So not that much on the roster at the moment. I'm sure I saw a bunch of other stuff last I looked. Mersey Beers. Just dive straight in. The can art is awful, but mostly pretty. So the can art is okay. I mean, it's just a bunch of colours, and I think it's like an explosion. But yeah, I'm not happy with I'm not overly impressed with the verticalness. Although there's some breweries I drink regularly that do have them. So, oh, okay, yeah. So Half Pint Mafia was well good. I think it compared to Track Sonoma. I've not had Track Sonoma either. It's one I intend to get around to at some point, because you lot keep telling me how good it is. Not bad, buddy. Not bad. Does he use a ladder to reach that? No, he hops. Yeah, they've got a guy with one leg in charge of the brewery, or just in charge of the hops. A very good brown ale from Stannary. Fair play. I imagine they would do some decent best bitters or brown ales. I should think it'd be quite big down that way. Twisty Fairy, good evening. Thank you very much for popping in. Hope you're doing all right, or if not better. Yeah, so really slightly random story how I didn't actually get given this one. It is a free beer, so it kind of qualifies, and I didn't actually as such get given it by the brewery or a representative thereof. What happened was my boss at Burville purchased a piece of brewing equipment, a chiller line, inline chiller rather, and yeah, Stannary were very nice, and in the box they sent it up with, they put half a dozen cans of their beers. So I've got another Stannary one in the stash. I think it's another pale. My boss says, "Here, do you want a couple of beers?" I said, 3 beers. Yes. Why not? Why not? Buddy, thanks for popping in. Good to see you. It's good to see you as always. Have a good evening. Yeah, so I wasn't directly given this one, but I didn't pay for it either, so it's kind of qualifies as free beer. So again, I'm under no obligation to review it, but review it I have. And I'm quite pleased. It's quite good, actually. That hoppy note's coming through a little bit more now. I never like to review it just off the first sip. It's going toward, but that's what I always say. I got that big hop note on some beers, and then it kind of ruins it for the rest of the pint. Whereas this one was quite muted and delicate on the first bit, and that hop note, that bitterness is kind of growing, kind of going towards grapefruit a little bit more. It's completely overridden that salinity of that previous beer. There's no fruit flavors particularly. There's no kind of juiciness, but it's got a fairly big body on it. It's still fairly smashable. Like I say, when I sit on a beach, sitting outside with a pint of it, I'd go back for more of that, I think. Or except that's not how I drink. I'll go back for one, and I want to try as many different beers as possible. But that's one I could probably session that. Let's have a look on the can, actually, see if we can find a little bit more info. I probably could have done it off the website. So, yeah, 4.2%. Pixon Trading Centre, Tavistock. All right, 4.2% Session Pale Ale. Whirlpool hopped with Comet, Simcoe, and a big hit of a Zaka. Double dry hopped with Comet, Simcoe, and Centennial. All the sort of hops that normally in a beer I don't really care for, because they normally come out with a big kind of punchy, grapefruit, piney mess for me. But like my boss at Perivale, who's managed to get me to drink not only a single hop Citra beer, but he's got me drinking hoppier beers than I would normally be comfortable with, but he's managed to wrap it up in that kind of, that's the word I was looking for. There's a nice pillowiness to it as well. Is there oats, do we think? Yeah, there is oats in it. I do like the oats. Gives it that nice, softer kind of body. Pleased about that. Here's one for you, Mr. Wilson. You'll be surprised at this. Best before May 2025. So for the second stream in a row, I think, and I have had a look at the next one already. I mean, there is no best before on that one because it's only a sample, but technically I think I'm drinking 3 beers in date. It's Pilsner, so that will, if he's given it in Feb, probably brewed in January, I'll have at least a year on it as a Pilsner. So yeah, I think I'm drinking 3 beers in date. Shocker. I hope you're sitting down for that one, Mr. Wilson. It's a developing trend. It's a developing thing on here that I've got so many beers in the stash that I sometimes forget about one, and I'll drink beers, quite happily drink beers, after the best before date because it don't matter. It's the nominal thing. No, fair play, Twisted. Just pop in and say hi and hit the like. Yep, off to play the game with SK. Oh, that's well, yeah, have a good night. Yeah, fair play, Twisted. Thanks for popping in. Say hello as always. Everybody are welcome. Faint. Surprised you like beers in date. I drink beers in date all the time, mostly in a brewery, because then you like travel 20 yards. So they are fresh as anything, and I like them, but it's the cans and bottles in the stash that's the problem. But yeah, I mean, it's quite a long date actually. I mean, actually no, I suppose we got these. Yeah, it was probably May or maybe June that he made that order. So, I mean, that was probably canned pretty fresh and into the care package, as they say. Yeah, so it was sent to us pretty fresh. And May is a fairly long date for a hoppy pale. You know, even with a year on a hoppy pale. But there you go, and it's still, yeah. So yeah, I do like beers in date. Right, here we go. This is I love it when Adam chimes in about cops because I know so little apart from the names. Centennial, Comet, and Azaka are mainly West Coast hops, so no wonder you're a fan. Well, yeah, I always used to say that like there's a lot of breweries that I don't go for because you know your Verdants, your Deas, your Track, your Sonoma, because it always seemed like every other week it was great, they've got a new IPA out with Citra, Azaka, and Centennial, and then the following week is they've got a new IPA out with Azaka, Centennial, and Citra in varying degrees, and it all ended up being the same. Maybe my palate's changing. It's taken a while. But yeah, Azaka was always one I thought was a big kind of hoppy mess. Comet, I don't know too much about. I was going to do a joke about them going under in 1997, but I can't remember when Comet went under. It was like a Currys and Dixon's a thing, wasn't it? And again, Centennial. Yeah, I know very little about it, despite the fact I've watched Shark's videos, probably I think on all three of those. But yeah, again, because it's 4.2%, it's not too heavy on hops. It's kind of fairly session rate beer. I like it, really nice. As I say, the oak's in there. Coming up even hazier down the bottom. Haze for days. Yeah, really pleased with that one. Again, is it good because I didn't pay for it? I was just given it, or is it actually genuinely good? I think it's actually genuinely a really good beer. To be fair, really kind of drinkable. Again, yeah, won't please the hopheads, but I'm not, so that's why I kind of enjoy it. Yeah, so yeah. Centre beer. It's technically a free beer, even though Stannary didn't give it to me directly, but sort of indirectly. That's given to me by my boss. So yeah, pleased with that one. That's really nice. I'm gonna have to put up a good review tomorrow. Yeah, last Monday was a bit awkward when I had that mango beer. Yeah. Kind of didn't really put up a proper review on Tuesday about it. I said Turning Point, we're going to have a chat. To be fair, they came back. But then I said I didn't really like the beer, so they didn't come back on that. Sorry, Turning Point. Sorry, Victoria, I've taken so long to do their one as well. Well, now. If you had free choice at the brewery, what beer would you ask them to brew? Both a pale and a dark option. Well, funny enough, we had that discussion just yesterday. I've been for a while suggesting that we do a dark version of our Pilsner, like a dark lager, which I think, on the whole, I wouldn't say I prefer a dark lager, Czech Pilsner, notwithstanding. I just definitely think it's an additional option. We were talking about brewing some kind of dark beer. I don't get any free reign on it. We have a little chat about it, and it's like I've got to try not to keep going on about dark lagers. The trouble with free choices, it's like I can't narrow it down to one. It's like I've got loads of ideas, and I have to rein myself in and not go. Oh, we should do this. We should do that. We should do that. That's just it's his business. I'm just there as a kind of second ear and like give a little nudge. But yeah, dark lager is something I want to do. See, this is the thing. I surprised myself since I've been there. Like, I wouldn't normally be thinking about doing a low alcohol beer, non-alcohol beer, but because of I'm thinking about the business and where it is. There's a lot of people drive there, so getting a 0% beer would be a good idea, and that would probably be a pale. I did. We had a thing the other day where, off the back of a stout brew, we did some second runnings and was trying to work out whether we could kind of cola it, kind of just put it on a CO2 and put it out as a soda. And we had this situation where it was like, it isn't Coke, it isn't a cola, but it also isn't a 0% stout. But it tasted like, at one point, it tasted like a 0% stout. And I'm like, this would be good, but you can't do that all the time. So I've got loads of ideas and loads of things, not possibly enough knowledge. A pale is actually harder because we've got lots of pale options. I don't know enough. I don't quite know what my optimum hop range would be and what hops I'd want to put in a pale. So it would probably be, I like my adjunct beers, so it would be some kind of fruit. I'd like to do a mango pale. I'd like to do an apricot pale because there's a couple of apricot beers I've had. Not many. Most people go sour on apricot and mango for that matter. But yeah, I'd like to do an apricot pale. I had one a while back. I think they've given up now from it's called Grafton Fine Ale, somewhere up near Raggy Workshop, I think they are. And they did an absolute apricot jungle. It's called absolute excellent apricot pale. I do like apricots. Very underrated fruit. You only see them for a very short time in the year. They're out at the moment, actually. But yeah, apricot pale is one I would like to do. But for scale, it's very difficult, I think, to get the price of apricot. Lazy yeast. Lazy, is that Kvik? Or yeast that takes a while? Kvik is lazy in that you don't have to be so pernicious with temps or whatever, and it just does its thing in a couple of days. Lazy yeast. Well, yes, no, I have mentioned that. There was a while back on Twitter, Mash Gang were talking about collabs, but because I'd already been myself down, I couldn't reply as Pervel, I couldn't reply as Raska and Disco, so I never. But then they went to America or something. Yeah, it would be nice to have something from Mash Gang. I've got an idea for that as well, which I won't say because again, I've got loads of ideas. Whether it works or not is another matter. Right? Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. I know what that means. I won't bounce off that, but yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. The apricot jam from Lidl was a nice change, even if it was a bit sweet. I won't necessarily use the apricots, it's bungalow sugar in, but yeah. No, I like apricots. Don't see them very often. Yeah. Right, I'm going to finish this one off because that will go down the hatch very nicely at that little bit. Cheers again. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, that was very, very pleasant, very drinkable. A really nice session pale ale. And again, back in the day, a long while ago, you wouldn't catch me drinking session pales because it's like 4.2%. Is that all? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, let's put a call out. Beer number 3, please. So, beer number 3. Oh, press the wrong button. Yeah, beer number 3. Beer number 3 is actually a beer I got a bit confused on. I didn't realise until I started writing the tickers up earlier. It's not what I thought it was. I actually thought this was a New England, which you've probably seen from the thumbnail. Absolutely fairly chaotic, mad can wrap. Fairly chaotic, mad name, to be fair. Chimp orders pizza and leaves nice tip. Comes from Disruption is Brewing. I believe, yes, I was about to say, yeah, local down that way. I believe Camberley way, if I believe. Are they not? I think there was something, if I remember the story rightly, something to do with Ascot Brewery that changed or whatever, refinanced or whatever. I'm not sure about that. You'll have to tell me about that. In fact, we'll look on that in a minute. Yeah, Chimp orders pizza and leaves nice tip. 5.5%. I didn't realise it turns out as an XPA, which I believe is extra pale ale. Well, we've had 2 fairly pale beers anyway. That was pale enough, wasn't it? So let's get this into a glass. This one, bugger, has been sitting in my stash for much longer than the others. You won't be surprised to hear, and it's gone a bit lively already, which is a pain, and I apologise to the brewery. Yeah, that's not good. Let's get it in the glass. It's doing somersaults here. Yeah, so this beer was actually given to me in October of last year. Not by the brewery. So again, I'm not duty bound to review this in any way or feature it. But yeah, it's been in my stash a little bit too long because it is very, very lively. I thought I looked on it the other day and I thought it said September, but I might have been wrong on that. Yeah, it looks like I made an absolute balls up of that pour. So we're going to sit and wait for that for now. The reason I put it in is because I meant to do a video way before Christmas about it. I picked it up on October of last year. I was given it by the organisers of a little festival that I went to. Again, worked, called the Boston Manor Beer Festival. It's held at the aforementioned Boston Manor, which is a large park to the south of Ealing, just near the M4, sort of between Ealing and Brentford. It's Boston Manor House, a lovely little kind of walled courtyard, walled garden, actually. And I was gonna. I forgot to set this up. So yeah, it's run by the people that run the cafe in Boston Manor Park, and the organizer. His name I've actually forgotten because it was a long time ago. Bridgetoberfest, because it was underneath the flyover of the M4, which is essentially a bridge. So rather than Oktoberfest, it was Bridgetoberfest. Let me have a look in there instead. That'd be the better way of doing it. Yeah, so I was given this beer at the end of it, and I meant to do a video on it because I liked the name. The name is daft. This is going well, isn't it? Right, here we go. Boston Manor Beer Fest. There we go. Right, okay. Right, yeah, I knew it was something to do with Ascot. Ascot Brewing trying to be trendy. It's a Black Horse station, yeah. They were craft part of Ascot now. Maybe named the whole. Okay. Okay. Right, yeah, so I don't think, yeah, so we went to this beer festival, Boston Manor Beer Festival, kind of almost boutique festival. And here we are for this year. I thought I had it. No, I thought I had the one that said he was there. But, well, there we go. Right, so what we got is the Park Brewery, really good brewery down from Kingston. Luke's Cider, excellent London-based cider company. Only do apple cider. Oh, a little bit of yeast at the bottom there. That's how long it's been there. I'm going to check this out now because I need to. Best before the 20th of the 9th, 2024. So I'm a month in date. So, yes, all three. Like I say, it's been sitting in my stash since October. So it's got a good date on it. Let me do the photograph now. That's all in the glass. Again, looks pretty good in the glass. Looks nice and smooth, pillowy, bright. That'll do. That'll do. That's good. I didn't have this on Monday. My nose has blocked up again. Right, yeah, Hackney Church. That's one I'm interested in. I hope they bring that pineapple beer. I doubt it, though. I also hope they bring that squid ink one, but I doubt it. A little brewery called Perivale Brewery. Battersea Brewery. Good friends with them. They bought some decent beers. Muswell Hillbillies and Jawbone. Another one from the far south end of Ealing, possibly into Twickenham, I think. So, like I say, really small festival, but it was really good last year. I gave 2 festivals, and yeah, it was organised by the cafe in the park there, who gave me this beer. So yeah, proper orangey yellow kind of in the glass, proper hazy. Smells a bit fruity, sunshiny. Let's get it down my neck, see what we got. Cheers. It's difficult. XPA. I'm right. It's an extra pale ale, right? I think. Let me know, right? I mean, it's not actually that pale because it's so hazy. I guess. Again, I'm guessing there's a bunch of oats and stuff in there. So I'm going to have a look. It's quite a clever name. I'm sure the logo's changed. Last time I was there, I used to get Ascot and spoons all the time. No more. Well, there we go. I mean, the logo is just the name. Disruption is. That's quite good. I quite like that. Disruption is Brewing Company. Let's have a quick look on the thing there. Craig, thanks for popping in. You don't want Agadoo? Yeah, Agadoo. Right, let's have a quick look. See this beer, see what we can find out about it. We saw it. It happened, and it was awesome. Juicy tangerine and refreshing grapefruit. There's nothing refreshing about grapefruit. Makes me rich. Juicy tangerine and refreshing grapefruit kicks with resinous pine and citrus aromas. Expect the unexpected. Well, I know what to expect with pine and grapefruit. With this super smooth, extra special pale delivery. Oats. Oh, here we go. Hops, right? Amarillo, Comet, and Waimea. Is Waimea? Drink fresh. Hops fade fast. It's like they've never met me. But like I say, it didn't come directly from the brewery. It came from the organisers of the festival in the cafe in the park. So big thanks to them. And sorry I've taken so long, in fact, almost a year, because in 2 weeks' time, we're back at that festival for their summer festival, Boston Manor Beer Festival. I thought I wasn't going mad. XPA is extra pale ale. But how much more pale can you get, seeing as that was a session pale ale, and if you remember, that was pretty pale, but it wasn't as like oaty, wasn't as thick bodied, so that was pretty pale, and there was no voluptuousness body of it at all. So don't know. Okay, well there you go. I imagine obviously you would have had this beer being kind of a localish one to you. It was okay. Nothing stood out. See, this is where this is the question I'm asking, right? Like, it was free, so is it going to be good? But I've got to try and dig into it and see exactly what I can find. Well, it's definitely. I don't think it's pale. I mean, it is. It's a pale yellowy orange color, but well, it was okay. Yeah, this is the point. Extra pale malt, but a lot of beers have extra pale malt. Even a lot of stouts have extra pale malt as a base. But yeah, so the oats and the hoppiness is giving it that murky. So it is pale, but it's not as pale as I would expect for an extra pale ale. You can't get much paler than that, really. Never mind. It's, as Dave Wilson says there, it is okay. I prefer this one, I think, because this one goes a bit pinier, a bit more grapefruit. I'm going to struggle through. I did think originally it was a New England IPA. I must have misread the can. But it is a bit New Englandy for me. But then it's got, like Adam earlier was saying, Comet is like more of a West Coasty thing. That would account for the kind of pininess. Yeah, it's pine and grapefruit, but it's muted around those oats, so it's not too bad. Shock. Nothing is ever free. Well, yeah, technically. Pale as a ghost. Yeah, cheers, Kevin. Thanks for popping in. Good to see you, as always. IPA using Pilsner malt and Pilsner. Yeah, there's a lot of crossover sometimes, isn't there? Just to give it a go, I suppose, to be a bit experimental, man. But yeah, nobody ever lists really the malt bill on their beers. They just go malt barley because that's what they have to do. Yeah, they don't ever say what. I imagine it's just very pale malt. Won't be a lot else in it, I wouldn't have thought. It's the oats and the hops doing the business here, I think. Amarillo, don't know a lot about. Again, I imagine that to be a very West Coasty kind of thing, but then with the Waimea, which Waimea is New Zealand, right? I mean, that a lot of New Zealand beers, I imagine, just emulate American, certainly West Coast beers. But again, my palate is changing. It's not unpleasant. Maybe because I've left it so long. Again, I've allowed that hop note to reside a bit. There's a little bit of bitterness on the back end, a little bit of grapefruit on the back end, but it's muted. It's okay. Make it easy to steal the recipe. I mean, it can't be that difficult. I always say, as I was saying earlier, about you put the same hops in different hop rates, but they will end up being the same. Maybe it's just for me. I don't think anybody would want to steal the recipe because every other brewery make much the same beer. It's not too dissimilar for that one, to be fair. It's just differently packaged. And different hop rates are gonna provide different things, but every other brewery has much the same thing. Between session IPAs and session pale, session IPAs, it's all pretty nominative. It's all pretty balanced across the industry. But I'm not enjoying it. It's just this is a bit more challenging than the last. What I haven't got is a free stout that I can finish this up with. I have got a free stout in the thing, but I can't do it tonight because it's got a special name, so I've got to do that separately. And t-shirt was free as well, by the way. Does that make it more comfortable to wear because I didn't buy it? No. It's a very nice soft t-shirt, to be fair. It was given to me by the lovely Sarah. His daughter works in the pub. So thank you. And so it was given to me, and I'm like, yeah, of course I wear it. I wore it for a video the other week. I think you'll learn to enjoy more beer styles the longer you work at the brewery. Well, yes, like I say, he has got me drinking hoppier beers I wouldn't normally have expected to drink because he's made them very drinkable. I mean, do you know what? It's been 6 years we've been doing this YouTube thing. Well, 6 years on Sunday. I was thinking of doing some kind of birthday party thing. But funnily enough, it's a Sunday, so I may or may not be at the brewery. I might not have to be. I might be able to have the day off. But if I did have the day off, I might go out to the brewery and do a live stream, maybe. Or I might just do Monday. It'll be like an unofficial birthday party on Monday Club. Because I'm not working Tuesday, so I'll probably do a Monday thing. So yeah, we'll do some kind of birthday thing. I'm not really big into that. We haven't really gone for like, oh yeah, 5 years, 6 years, because they've all kind of dragged into one another. But yeah, you'd think in 6 years I would have. I'm not surprised my palate has maybe changed and I'm getting a bit more with the hoppier pales, but I'm still not getting the grapefruit. I tried them and some of them work, but I just can't. That's why I don't dive into some of the big breweries because I just can't risk that 5-6 quid a can on some hoppy grapefruity mesh. So my brewery is doing it pretty well. Perivale have got some very drinkable beers. There's a couple that I don't really. They're perfectly drinkable, but they're not my thing because they have got that slightly higher hop content. But yeah, like I say, he had a citra hopped, very hazy the other month, and even the very hazy at the moment has got some. It's got a new hop I've not really ever heard of, Pacific Sunrise, but it's a very, very drinkable beer. With the adjunct, so I've essentially got adjunct-free beers here, haven't I? There's no real adjuncts in any of these. It's just down to the malt and hop barrels, really. I like the oats, very drinkable, kind of hazy body. It's really good. It's really good. Oh, I see. Yeah. So, like, yeah, with the adjuncts. Yeah, you see, this is the thing. It's like I've got a video planned about that. I'm terrible at getting videos out. I haven't done one for 3 weeks. But yeah, I've got a little video planned about all the beers at Perivale and the weird stuff they've put in beers. So the core beers, obviously the stout is adjunct free. The pale is adjunct free. I suppose technically the Pilsner isn't adjunct free because we put stinging nettles in it, so that's not really adjunct free, is it? But even some of the base beers, like the best bitter, it's not adjunct free. Sort of willow bark in it. But yeah, there's a good balance of random, really random, mostly wild forest adjuncts. To be fair, so pretty natural, pretty good. But yeah, so probably some of the hoppier beers there I'm not mad on. Perfectly good beer because they don't travel very far, is well made, etc. But then again, I'm going to say that it's like with free beer, am I blindsided by the fact I work there? Well, I tell you what, I can use crickets instead of it. I've heard about that. I've seen about that. Oh, and if there's anywhere, well, it's in woodland, so there's probably and fields, so there might be a few crickets. Mealworms, that's the other thing, isn't it? See, I'm not against that. A lot of people turn their nose up. Yeah, I think it's a similar family. I think. Now we've got one in tank at the moment, which we didn't actually. I always said it hasn't got any hops in. We did put a smattering of hops in, but it's like a style that was developed before hops became cultivated, called a Groot. And it basically uses kind of like hedgerow plants like yarrow and mugwort to give that kind of hop, the assimilation of hops. So that's in tank at the moment. We did that last year as well. Just whatever's kind of available, really. Oh no! What? Had one from Beer Mongrel at Waterloo. Tasted great. More protein. Well, that's what it is, isn't it? Crickets, basically protein. I'm all up for that kind of stuff, that weird stuff. Ah, there you go. So brewed group twice, and one was a homebrew competition winner. Excellent stuff, man. Yeah, superb. Did you put any hops in it, or did you just use the wildflowers? That's an interesting one as well. Yeah. There you go. So this is what I like about this kind of general chat. You find out all this information, find out the information about the beers. I mean, today's kind of so whoa. Can you obtain crickets for, I should say, nefarious purposes, but beer is not a nefarious purpose. Well, there you go. I think that might be a challenge for Mr. Wilson there, Rob. Can you brew a cricket beer? So, right. So in your group, you didn't put hops. Fair play. Heather, basil, and some more, but not my book. Oh, pine tips. Right, I see. Okay, so pine, basil, and heather. Fair play. I mean, I do drink pine beers, but yeah. Okay, yeah, I see that. Really interesting. Yeah, so a cricket beer. I've eaten cricket. Right, I've eaten cricket. Tasted like peanut butter, but only because it was spread on peanut butter toast, just to, I guess, carry the flavour. But that's a challenging one. It's good. It's good beer. It's got that lovely haze on it. So yeah, I'm pleased with these 3 beers. It's been, I say, probably sitting in my stash, all 3 of them, a little bit too long, apart from the middle one. I guess that was over the summer. So it's good to woodlouse work or woodlouse work. Woodlouse work. Well, it's definitely a bit of protein. Is that similar sort of protein? I mean, I would like. This is a question we get a lot about a lot of that weird stuff we put in. It's like, is that not poisonous? Is that allowed? Like oak leaves, the oak leaf beer. Is that not poisonous? No, oak leaves are not poisonous. They're just very bitter. So you have to balance out. Woodlouse, definitely protein. Definitely protein. Yeah, mealworms I'm interested in. Like there was that thing. There was like a snack company tried to put like an alternative to like pork scratchings was like mealworms. But yeah, I'm all up for that weird stuff. There's nothing too weird I don't think I wouldn't try. I went to a wild food festival in New Zealand where we was eating cricket and wasp larvae and wow, hoo-hoo grubs. So there's a video of me on the internet somewhere eating alive. It's like witchetty grubs in Australia, but in New Zealand it's like smaller, called hoo-hoo grubs. Yeah, so there's chuck anything in the beer. I'm up for it. I'll give it a go. If it's nice, I'll try it again. There you go. Some of the weird and wonderful questions and conversation tangents we go down on these live streams is brilliant. I love it. Oh, do you see that? Yeah. I thought there might be. There's a little bit of yeast residue in the bottom of that glass. So I'm not going to down that on camera just in case. But I'm sure it'll be fine. But it tastes right. It tastes fresh enough. So I don't think I've answered the question. Jimmy Cricket beer. Jiminy Cricket. Come on now. There's more. That's a great reference. That's a very 80s, UK 80s reference. Just as I was thinking about finishing. Balance also. Yeah, mushroom beer is something I want. I did see a mushroom beer, and we've been talking about doing a mushroom beer, actually, to be fair. Yeah, just as I was thinking about finishing, Luke crashes in. Thursday Tipple. Good evening, good evening. Thanks for popping in. Good to see you, sir. Have you got a beer on? Or are you too busy cooking? Superb. Balance Brewery just been out foraging Samphire for one of their wild ales. Yeah, did you see the one I did the other week? The Basscastle one, Junebug with the Samphire. Love a bit of Samphire. Kind of going to be a ghost, I think, isn't it? Turning Point the other day put out a post about getting fresh lemon verbena delivered, which in my video the other day for Pervo with a very zesty. We use lemon verbena, but in the packaged form rather than wild forest. Fruits of the forest, yeah, some of that. Yeah, we're talking about going to forest and blackberries for a beer. We normally do a very berry every year with blackberries, and we do slow berries as well. I don't know if we're going to get a chance to do that this year, but blackberries go well in a beer. Well up for that. Oh no, bit of a headache. That's terrible. That's a terrible gag. Right, so yeah, I've done my 3 beers. It's been a really interesting conversation. So I'm going to not give you any more of a headache, Luke. Going to Balance later. There's crossover doing a crossover blendery. So Balance I've heard of, I know, but not seen any of their beers. Fair play, that'd be interesting. Yeah, so thanks to everybody for popping in. If you're watching after the event, thank you very much indeed. I'm going to sign off now. Please do like, subscribe and all that. All the good people in the comments here have already done that. And as ever, I've been Disco. You've been amazing. And cheers and enjoy the beers, whatever they contain. I'm going to go and have I'm going to go and find a stout in the stash to finish off with, I think. I haven't got to be at work in the morning, so might as well have one more. Yeah. Thanks very much indeed, everybody. Have a great Thursday night. Have a great weekend. I don't know if I'm going to do any more content over the weekend. I might do one Sunday. If not, it'll be Monday. Have a good one. Cheers. And enjoy the beers. Ta-ra!